All right, welcome to another episode of the 010 podcast. We have had a lineup of powerhouse women, so we are just keeping that going. We've got Deanna Gratz here with, now I forgot it, commercial lines
Correct.
management?
Yes.
Commercial lines manager with Cottingham Insurance. And I know that she has been part of that family for many years, and they're very grateful for her. I hear it on all ends. So let's go ahead and get started. Dee, let's talk first. Like, where'd you come from? Like, what's your story? Where are you from?
Well, I grew up in Southwest North Dakota in Hettinger, and I graduated high school from there. I continued my secondary education with at Williston. Now it's Williston State College. At the time, it was University of North Dakota, Williston. I graduated with my associates in arts and science there, and then finished my bachelor's degree in secondary education with a major in mathematics. So I was a math teacher for a few years.
I did not know this about
Goodness.
you.
I didn't
Yeah,
either.
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
I love
and
it.
I did it all with a baby. I was a teen mom, and I graduated with honors from high school and then went right to college and graduated with honors there too, and did it all while raising my Haley.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a tough time, but we made it through.
Where did you teach?
In North Sargent High School. It is in Gwinner, North Dakota, home of Bobcat
Yeah.
Industries. I was there for about 3 years, and then I wanted to move closer to back to my dad, who was still in Hettinger at the time, and wanted to get somewhere a little bit bigger, kind of over the small town politics, and I couldn't sell my house. So I was still there for a while and did some odd jobs, and then ended up finishing second semester in Milner, North Dakota, which is about 10 miles away. They had a teacher there quit mid-year, and so I finished the year for them over there, was able to sell my house, and then that's when I moved to Bismarck in 2001. So I've been here. This has been home longer than any place else has. So
Lovely.
And then so then how did you end up with Cottingham?
that's actually a funny story. I was actually looking for a daycare. I moved here, like I said, without a job, a single mom of two at that time. And I was looking for a daycare while my older daughter was in school, and I was looking in that area. And so I stopped and visited this daycare. And in visiting, and she asked what type of job I was looking for. Like, well, I'm a single mom of two kids, so I will take whatever I can get at this point. I had the proceeds from my home sale, so I wasn't in like on the verge of being homeless or anything, but needed to get something in place to support the kiddos. And she said, well, my neighbor is looking for a secretary. Like, oh, I consider myself a fairly intelligent person, and secretarial work wasn't my ideal career path, but it was something. And so, but they were already interviewing. And so I didn't even reach out, because I figured if they were already in the interviewing process, there was no point in me putting in a new application. And the next day, the agent who was here at the time actually reached out to me and asked me to send my resume I did, and came in for an interview with the agent who was here at the time, did a personality test, and it was a day or two later, Diane Cottingham, the owner and founder of Cottingham Insurance, called me, did a phone interview, had never met me, and offered me the job. And here we are, 24 and a half years later. What started as basically an administrative assistant position, and I've just worked my way up. And so now, as Josie said, I am the commercial alliance manager here, and I've been here ever since.
I love that
It's a
story. It
testament
makes
to
me
you.
teary. Wow, I didn't know.
To me, it's a testament to you and to Cottingham. You know, when you have long-term employees, you know, the employee deserves credit for being loyal, and but the employer deserves credit also, because clearly it's a place that you have been inspired to continue to work for.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Diane treated me like family from the beginning. Had been there a couple of years, and my parents went through a divorce, and there was some family issues to where we had typically spent Christmas at one of my sisters, and with the divorce, my dad wasn't going to be invited to one of the holidays. I think it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, I don't remember. And I said, well, if my dad's not invited, I'm not going. And when I had mentioned that to Diane, she said, well, then you can come, you and your dad both come to our house. And so they had never met my dad, but when we got there, she had gifts for both my dad and myself. And it was just, they've always treated me like family. I've even been asked if I'm related a few times, but yeah, they've always been family to me.
What different roles did you have in there, and what, because I feel like something must have stuck that I really enjoy this too. I mean, yes, the company, but I mean, this is a lot of your life to
It
do
has been a lot of my
it.
life. Yes, almost over half my life actually at this point. Um, I think that there is a lot of similarities in the profession of being an insurance agent and a teacher. I feel like I still do educating on a regular basis, and it's now more not forced as much as teenagers were forced to be in high school. And yeah, so it was just I enjoy like teaching people about their policies, about their coverages, what they're paying for, what they're getting, and that it's not just premium. There is a need and a service there that's important to them.
Right, what they're getting, like
Yeah,
just it's not just comes out of the bank every month, right? There's like something there.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, cool.
so I'm going to bring the excitement again. So you just had a new grandbaby.
I did. I did. My
Yay!
youngest started. I do have two grandbabies now. I have two daughters, and each daughter has blessed me with a granddaughter. So Hadley May was just born. She is about 6 weeks old. And then she is from my younger daughter, Sierra. And then my older daughter, Haley, had a baby in 2020. So she was a COVID baby. The best thing to come out of 2020 is Lennon. So she's 5 now and just a little Spitfire.
I've heard they're built differently, those COVID babies. I've
Yeah.
heard that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Yeah.
Oh, she definitely is. She definitely is. If her parents can handle like raising her
Yeah.
in the meantime.
Yeah.
Oh. So
How
what's
exciting.
Yeah.
So go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Jose.
Like tell me about being a grandparent. Like what's different between being a grandparent? Well, I know there's a big difference, but
Yeah.
between mom and grandparent and then a daughter that has a baby, like your relationship. Can you share that?
Yeah, I mean, it's so different. Obviously, I'm not responsible for making sure that those kids grow up to be productive members of society, right?
Right.
Um, but they deal with the hard stuff, and grandma gets fun time, and that's just been a total blessing. Um, they're amazing. They're amazing. My daughters are amazing, and I see them being amazing mothers, and that could not make my heart happier.
Yeah.
Do you get along well with your son-in-laws?
Yes, I do. They're perfect. They're perfect matches for my daughters. As a single mom, as I had mentioned, it was pretty special for me. Both of my son-in-laws called and asked for my permission before they asked for my daughter's hand in marriage. So that was pretty special to me because moms don't usually get that honor, and both of them asked for my permission before they asked my daughters, and that was very special to me.
Mm. That shows a level of respect,
Yeah, yeah,
between you all. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're perfect for each other, both of them. But yeah, both my
What's
daughters are very successful and in their own career paths, and just when you see your kids just excelling in life and just crushing it, it's like it could bring me to tears just talking about it because they're just so amazing, and I just don't know that they realize how amazing they are and how loved they are, because they are my everything.
Yeah.
what's the phone call at 10 o'clock at night to mom now? Or, like,
I think the last text I got from my youngest daughter was, "How do people get through life being so stupid?" And I'm like, that's $1 million question, actually, if you figure out the answer to that. Like,
having a good day.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I think it'd be funny to have a list of just what you text or call your mom for. It's very random.
Yeah.
On my end anyway, for sure. It would be. Um, can you tell us a little bit about you had a big health journey here in the last few years.
I
So,
have had quite the health journey, yes. So in January of 2024, I went in for a routine mammogram, and there was some suspicious areas found, and so I had to go back for a recheck and did an ultrasound and biopsy. And on February 1st, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma, which was stage 2 breast cancer. And it was stage 2 because it had spread into lymph nodes. And yeah, so it kind of rocked my world. It's kind of the thing that nobody thinks will ever happen to them. And even when I was meeting with the ultrasound, they said, I said, obviously the biggest fear is cancer, but what else could it be? And she said, rare to highly unlikely that it is anything else. And even then, I still was, this doesn't happen to me, that happens to others, and yeah, the next day I got the test results in my patient portal and read that email, and yeah, nothing's been the same ever since.
Yeah, I would imagine and it changes the lives of everyone around you too.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, my journey, I went through 16 16 weeks, 8 rounds of chemo. And my daughters were there, and neither of them live in town. So it was a lot of strain on them too. But the way they stepped up for me during that time is they're greater than I ever could have imagined. So I went through, like I said, 16 weeks of chemo. Well, it was every other week, so it was 8 rounds. And then I had surgery July 5th of 2024, and then had a lumpectomy, and then I forget the full long medical term of it, but the dissection of the lymph nodes. And that was on July 5th. And then, so I kind of an independent, tough person. Like when I had my hysterectomy years ago, they told me to take 6 weeks off. I took a week off, so when this surgery came up, I kind of thought I would be just as tough and stubborn. And the nurse literally laughed at me when she asked when I planned to go back to work. I'm like, well, I thought I'd work remote the week after, and she laughed at me. So I was taken down a few pegs and found that I'm not as tough as I thought I was. And
which is okay.
Yeah. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, though, given the fact how independent you have to be to raise 2 kids on your own. So I took a month. I was out of work for about a month, and then and wasn't driving and was completely dependent on others, and that was tough as well, because I'm not a person who can ask for help easily, and I had to rely on other people. And that's when you realize like how great of a support system that you have is when you actually need people to step up for you. So we made it through that, and then Sierra got married in August of that year, and we're able to put all the medical stuff aside for a nice weekend. And then as soon as I got back to Bismarck from that, then I did 25 treatments of radiation. And so that was pretty, I think they say the easy part of the journey, and nothing about it was easy. Nothing about any part of the journey was easier, but it was less stressful than the rest. And at that point, let's see, that was the end of September. And then I got my port removed in November and had my first colonoscopy, and then spoke at the Cancer Center Hope Givers event that night. And at that point, I was just ready to put it all behind me. The oncology had recommended that I keep my port in for a year just in case, but nobody could tell me why other than just in case. That's just our typical recommendation. That's our recommendation. But nobody could give me a why or a year from what. And there was too many unknowns and not direct answers. So I just said, no, I want it out. And so I got it out. And I wanted as much of that entire journey kept in that year and not drug out any further or longer than it had to be.
That is beautiful, honestly.
I love that.
Yes, seriously.
I
Good for
love
you.
that mindset. Mm-hmm.
Me too. Me too. When
Love
did
it.
you feel, because that takes guts, and did you feel like through the process that you did have a say in a lot of the things that happened, or were you like, dude, just help me? I don't know. How'd you feel?
I honestly, when I first got my diagnosis, I think I was so much in shock that I I didn't maybe ask enough questions. I didn't, second opinions and alternative options. I wish I would have done more in the beginning. I learned a lot throughout the journey, and I think I'd be a completely different patient now, knowing what I know now. If I knew then, it would have been a completely different process for me. But I learned a lot, and I'm never going to say I regret anything. I believe pretty firmly that not to live my life with regrets, because it gets me to where I am today. It has gotten me where I am today, I should say. And if I hadn't gone through that journey, then maybe something else wouldn't have come to me, or maybe I would have been stuck in a rut, because I was not in a good place before I got that diagnosis. I had just gotten out of an extremely toxic relationship, and it kind of left me a little broken, and for lack of a better word. Somebody that I thought that I could trust completely took advantage of the person that I was. And I truly believe that almost depression that I was in from that relationship, for as long as I was in that relationship, led to my cancer, because I was in such a negative, toxic place.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
You're doing it,
Yeah.
girl.
It's awesome. It's awesome that you are open to that thought process.
I
Now,
actually told people that I felt less negativity in my life with cancer than in that relationship that I was in. And maybe that was God's way of saying, like, you can do better than this. It got me out of the funk, really, because it was so apparent to me how loved I was by the support system that I had. And it was very eye-opening to how I was taking a lot for granted. But the people that stepped up for me in ways that beyond what I could imagine, it was pretty amazing.
Well, that's good.
when you say you've learned a lot from your journey and you would do it differently now, my journey with Jerry, I feel the exact same way. The problem is the things that I've learned, and I'm wondering how you feel about this. The things that I've learned are not things that people are open to hearing. Would you
Very
agree
much
with
so.
that? And then,
Absolutely.
so then do you still, do you speak what you've learned, or do you just, you know what I mean? Or do you offer what you've learned up to people, or do you just sit back and wait to see if, people are asking for your thoughts on it?
I will share my opinion if I'm asked for it. I don't know that I inject myself into other people's medical journey.
Yeah.
Just without their inquiry. If they ask from my journey, and it's really sad, actually, but I feel honored. I've had several people reach out to me because they've been diagnosed since I've went through my journey, and I've been honest with them. If I had it to do over again, I don't know that I would have gone through chemo. I don't know that I would have gone through radiation. And my children are probably going to be very upset with me if they listen to this podcast, because I've never told them that. And hopefully I never have to find out, right? I do a lot of natural options now in order to prevent reoccurrence. And I just felt like too much was being pushed. Prescriptions were being pushed at every part of that journey. No matter what I was being told or what my side effects were, we can give you something for that. It was a prescription for that. There was a prescription for that. I had 3 prescriptions that I filled thinking I needed them that I never even touched. I didn't have one pill. And it's like, and then I had spoke with a doctor here in town who had lost her husband to cancer, and she had told me very upfront, she says, cancer didn't take my husband, chemo did. And she's very firm belief that, you know, the chemicals that literally chemicals that are being put into your body is what killed her husband. And that was pretty eye-opening for me. And that was after the fact. That was after my journey. So yeah, like I said, I hope I never have to find out. And I don't regret anything. But I think my path would have been very different if I knew then what I know now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the stuff that people don't want to talk about, right? The stuff that, because we're thankful you're here, Dee.
Yeah,
Right?
thank you. Thank you.
And
Right. There
path
can't
brought
be a
you
regret.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're
Yeah.
here. You're free.
Well, and fun fact, Andy and Josie, you two were one of the first people to find out about my journey because we had that Meth in the Moonlight, the Cancer Center fundraiser. That was on Saturday, and I had got my diagnosis on Thursday night. So Friday was spent telling work and my close friends and family, and then you guys were some of the first to know outside my immediate circle. So
yeah, talk about still showing up. Like the fact that you came to the mass was huge. I mean, everyone does their own thing, right? But you're like, I need to be around people.
Yeah.
And you felt that. Like that was intuitive, I think, a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't be home right now. I shouldn't be home. I want to be around people.
No, that would have been a bad idea.
Right. Yeah.
And then it came full circle because the Cancer Center then asked me to speak at Masks in the Moonlight the following year. So I had that honor. I not only spoke at their Hope Givers event in, I believe it was November of 24, but then I gave my survivor testimony to at the Mess in the Moonlight in 2025, in February 25. And it was actually on the anniversary of my diagnosis. Okay. And so it was pretty emotional for me, but so I'm kind of a sarcastic and direct to the point kind of person. So I made my speech less about sympathy and cancer and the negative that came, and more about what I learned and the positivity, and threw a little sarcasm and fun in there. And one of the things that Sarah had told me, Sarah Kelsch from the Cancer Center, who had asked me, she said, keep it short, sweet. People are, drinking and having a good time and don't often listen. And so I kept that in mind, and not to take it personal if people were distracted or not paying attention. And at one point I just looked around, like there were people coming in from the bar and you could hear a pin drop in there. And so it was pretty amazing, even that people that I didn't know that were interested in what I had to say, which I told you guys I was a little surprised when you asked about this, because I just don't think I'm anything. I'm not special. I'm not unique. My story's not fabulous. I haven't conquered, mountains. And then I look back and like, yeah, I have conquered mountains, and I've done a lot that I don't give myself enough credit for.
Right. And I think that's part of a journey, is learning to give yourself that, right? Because we're taught, and again, I hate to make this male versus female, but we are taught as women not to.
Yeah.
right? We're taught to downgrade our successes and things, but you know, you should celebrate your successes and the fact that and how you handled it and with grace and authenticity and honesty and yeah, that's you should be celebrated and
Thank you.
recognized and as all women as all people should, and
Yeah.
be able to understand why people would love to hear your story and learn about you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's even things like going back to, like I said, I was a teen mom and I raised both my girls on my own. And I don't know that I give myself enough credit for that. And how amazing they've turned out. Like I did that. That's because of me. They turned into great people, not solely because of me, but I raised those girls and they're amazing. They're
Mhm.
absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
Do you feel like your heart has kind of opened up since in the last few years of just being able to feel things a bit more? Because you had to take time for yourself to heal, you know? You had
Yeah.
time in the chair. You had time, what, 4 or 5 weeks you said after surgery, that's a lot of time with yourself that you usually are pouring into other people, into your work, into your family. Like that has to change you, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely did. Sometimes like I feel like to be alone in your own thoughts too much is not necessarily a good thing either. Um, but
Depends on
yes,
what your
it
thoughts
was
are.
depending on what your thoughts are. Yeah, at
Yeah.
that time, yeah, yeah. Um, but I've grown a lot since then. I started in 2025 after my cancer year. I started the word of the year that sure you've heard of before, and I hadn't been familiar before that. So I've started this word of the year, and in 2025, my word of the year was grace. Because after everything I had went through, I was living my life like I had been before, and I was trying to do the same things that I had been before, and it took a minute for me to just remember that my body had been through a huge trauma, and it's okay that I can't do everything that I used to be able to do. And I think that's one of the hardest things I still struggle with today, even now, over 2 years later, since my diagnosis, is just that I don't know that people realize that just because you're in remission, just because the treatments are done, my life is never going to be the same. There is the constant fear of what if it comes back. I still go to physical therapy. I still have physical symptoms of everything that I've gone through. And it's just, but on the outside, I look normal again. And I, whatever normal is, right? Quote unquote. But yeah, my life has forever changed. And not necessarily for the worse, um, but it's never going to be the same, and that's okay too. Because, like I said, I was not in a good place. So, um, but yeah, it's the follow ups and the fear of reoccurrence, all the things that are just always in the back of your mind, my mind. That's just every time I feel a little twinge, like I still have no feeling in my right armpit. And if I feel a twinge, like I've been told it will take years for some of that nerve damage to heal itself. And so every time I feel something, like, is that the nerves healing or is that the cancer coming back? And it's it's a strain mentally that I don't think everybody realizes.
Well, and like you said, a big thing too about what was going on before, and then you got the diagnosis, right? Like your brain is still in that process, and then it's done, and it's like, oh, my life is going to be, my brain's going to be completely different. Like I'm going to live differently from here on out. Well, you've got neural pathways that have been there for 40, 50, whatever, a lot of years, right?
Yeah,
So like to think that they're just gone and it's completely different now. It's not. Now it's just a
right.
meld of everything in your life and we move forward with what it is, right? And
That's right.
changing those neural pathways. But it's not just instant, even though
Right.
grateful to be alive, right? And
For
then
sure.
but I've also got the fear here still.
For
We're,
sure.
and like which pathway are we gonna go on today? What's firing today, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So good for you. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, let's leave it. What if your word of the year for 2025 was grace? What is it for 2026?
2026 was self. Um, self, just focusing on me. I tried to make a point to do things just for me, whether that be spa treatments or massages or facials or, um, I bought myself a sauna this recently.
Perfect.
Just things that are just about me, and not in a selfish way, but just in a self-focused way.
If you were to go back to like your teen self now,
Oh boy.
what would you want to tell? Because I mean, there's a lot of people with a story like this, right? And then you like, what would you want to tell her with what you know now of what the life's going to look like? Like, what would you want to comfort her with?
Stay strong, and everything will work out. And take better care of your body.
Yeah, I get it. I love that.
Both mentally and physically. Take better care of yourself, maybe would be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson for all of us.
And seek therapy sooner.
Hey, I was born in Hettinger, North Dakota. And
Yes.
yes, and
I knew you were from that area, that corner of the state.
right. So therapy wasn't a very common thing where we were
Right.
at. So
Right. For
that's
sure.
good advice. Good advice. So
Well, thank you, Dee, for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.